Hi, it's the Minnesota Cryptid. Mint. Hello. This is episode 2. Uh, it has been not a great couple of days. So, here in the state of Minnesota, so I wanted to do something positive, and as a result, I have decided to make a video of positivity, and that video is going to be about my Syngonium Milk Confetti plant. I took the time to write down notes. I've got notes, and I have my plant, and so I am going to be telling you today about my Milk Confetti Syngonium. So this is my plant, and let me just get that. This is my plant. Now it's called a Milk Confetti Syngonium because the leaves are a light color. As you can see, they're sort of a milky color. This leaf has particularly little variegation. There we go. However, this new leaf beside it that is unfurling has a lot of the pink variegation on it. See all that pink? That's why it's very prized. It's very pretty. I spritzed it earlier with some distilled water to increase the humidity, the local humidity, because these plants like a lot of humidity. They come from rainforest areas. See, here's another good leaf. Here we go. You can really see all the pretty pink spots. That's why they're called confetti. It almost looks like green milk. Not that you'd want to drink that, but if a plant could be milky, that would be this plant. Definitely. Oh, I just noticed there's something like there, some dirt right down there in the petioles. There we go. Just get that right out of there. There we go. Yeah. It's got some new leaves. Right there is a new leaf unfurling. And another inside here. Can't see it too well because of all the other leaves. My plant is relatively young, so it's still growing. They can get real big. So, my little mushroom decoration popped off. I'll just pop that right back on. A friend of mine, I bought the mushroom decorations. I thought they were too cute. She painted them, and I think they're just. Oh, hang on, let me just. I bought them from her. I thought they were just too adorable. I think she did a great job. Isn't that a cute little mushroom decoration? I think it's just fantastic. She did a great job. All right, so Milk Confetti Syngonium. This is also known as an arrowhead plant and a butterfly plant because of the triangular leaves. Now, these plants have gained a lot of popularity with indoor gardeners because they're easy to take care of. And they come in a variety of beautiful colors, patterns, and sizes. Mine, this milk confetti, will actually, I think, get to roughly 12 inches tall, I think, something like that. I'm not 100%. I should have looked that up. That's my bad. Because of the wide variety of plants that you can get, I actually have another one of these downstairs. It's not milk confetti. It's an arrowhead plant, but it's not milk confetti. It's just a regular plain green arrowhead plant, and it's vining. It's not clustered like this. It's very pretty, and it's huge. It eats fish poop. This one gets just miracle grow sticks, but I'll get to that in a minute. And because of the fact that these have such variety, I'll show you a picture in a little while. I'm gonna edit it in. But because these have such variety in size and color, don't pay no attention to the insulin pump on my chest. my glucose is a little high. I just ate dinner, or I ate a snack rather. Dinner's not for a couple more hours. But because of the wide variety of patterns, of sizes, of colors, just the wide variety of subspecies that this plant comes in, it's very popular both for beginners and for more experienced keepers of plants in general. Pardon me. Now, Milk Confetti is a relatively new hybrid. As you saw, it has creamy whitish green leaves speckled with pink coloration. And as I mentioned, they're also called arrowhead and butterfly plants due to their triangular shape. As you saw, they were kind of... Now, they can actually grow so big that they develop different nodes, making them even more arrowhead shaped. They can actually look sword shaped, kind of like silver sword philodendrons, which I have one of those, and in time I'll show it to you. The Milk Confetti prefers bright indirect light, but it can tolerate low light. However, when you put it into low light, its variegation, all those pretty pink colorations, will dull. They'll fade because they don't have that bright light to really make them pop. However, if you put it into direct light itself, that will burn those leaves because they're really quite thin. They're not very thick leaves. They're really quite thin. If you hold them up to the light, you can just see right through them. The light just shines through. I mean, they're not like transparent or translucent, but they are, well, they're actually kind of translucent, but they're not transparent. But I mean, like, you hold them up to the light just shines right through. You can see the veins and everything. So you always want to make sure that if you give them bright light, that it's diffused, such as through shears, a shear curtain. Never, ever, 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 ever put them in direct sunlight. You'll burn your plant. And those poor plants are so pretty. You don't want to burn them. So, if you put it in a south or west facing window, make sure that you have a sheer curtain, in that window to keep it from burning the leaves. As for temperatures, these plants prefer 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 15 to, as I understand, about 24 degrees Celsius. Cool to comfortable, about, if you're comfortable, they're comfortable. You can look at it like that. Remember, however, that, you don't want to keep them near a cold draft because they're tropical plants. They hail from Latin America, from places like Mexico, from Bolivia, from Brazil, from rainforests. You know, these plants came from places where they would get filtered sunlight through the canopy of the trees above, so they get dappled sunlight filtering down. So, you know, you got to think of it in terms of what are the conditions that I need to simulate in order to make this plant happy. So, they're sensitive to cold drafts. Obviously, you're not going to get a cold draft in the rainforest. And they like high humidity. So, to replicate the high humidity of the rainforest, you can put them on a tray of pebbles with some water in it. Just make sure that they're not sitting in water. You can also get a humidifier in the same area as the plant. If you lack both of those items, you can group all your house plants together, and that generally raises the local humidity by having all your plants grouped together. That'll raise the local humidity of all the area of where the plants are. And just misting lightly, that'll help to raise the local humidity. Just mist the leaves lightly. As for watering, they prefer slightly moist soil. So, as you can see, I use a combination soil. So you can see from the color of the soil, it's kind of a light medium brown, maybe a darkish brown, dark medium brown. That's because I just recently watered. I use a combination of potting mix and 1 part potting mix to an equal part of rehydrated cocoa coir for the best drainage I can give to the plant. Because drainage is super important to these plants. They need highly draining soil because you don't want them waterlogged. You also need good drainage in whatever container you have them in. This is just an old peanuts container that my partner Austin drilled 5/8 inch holes in for drainage, both on 2 on each side. So there's 2 on every side, and then on the bottom there are 4. And I've got these used dryer sheets to block the soil from flowing out when I water. So they keep the soil in place. But if you're out of containers that are going to hold things properly, do what you can with what you got. But you can tell by the soil color when you've got a clear container like that, what color the soil is will tell you how dry the soil is. There's also the finger test. Okay, so take your finger and put it up to this knuckle right here, the one right below your fingernail, that first knuckle. Put it right up there. Stick that all the way in the dirt, up to that first knuckle. If the tip of your finger is dry, water your plant. If the tip of your finger comes back out and it's got soil on it, leave your plant alone. It's fine. If it's got wet soil on it, no. It's fine. Leave your plant alone. It has plenty of water. Trust me, it's fine. Now, if you don't trust the soil test, just pick your plant container up. Light containers mean, oh, yeah, I need to add water. If you do that often enough, you'll learn what a heavy container feels like versus a light container and when you need to water. So, like I said, Syngoniums prefer slightly moist soil. And I love drainage. So that's why I've got a total of 12 drain holes on this container, because I live for drainage. They can tolerate short periods of being completely dried out, but don't do that to them too often. However, remember, overwatering kills more plants than underwatering. A plant can come back much more easily from underwatering than it can from overwatering. Trust me. Overwatering encourages root rot. So ensure adequate drainage. These holes, like I said, on this container are 5/8 inch wide. So go for 1/2 inch to 5/8 inch holes if you're drilling your own holes. Don't go any smaller. Now for fertilizer, you want a balanced liquid fertilizer every 2 weeks during active growth to every month. You can dilute it by half if you're giving it every 2 weeks. Never give fertilizer to a plant with dry soil. You'll burn the roots. The one exception for this is with fish emulsion. That will not burn the roots. You can use a slow release fertilizer, like a fertilizer stick. That's what I like to use, because you just make a hole, you stick the stick in, and you cover it up. I love those because I forget liquid fertilizer so often. But I can remember the sticks. That's easy. You just mark it on a calendar when you have to stick the stick in. So you do that every 2nd to 3rd month, depending on how vigorous the growth is. So, I just use Miracle Grow because in the end, your plant doesn't care. It does not care where its nutrients comes from. You care. Your plant doesn't. So I just use Miracle Grow. It's going to absorb the nutrients either way. So, fun fact, this pretty plant with all the cool color is related to a peace lily. And like I said, it's native to the tropical regions of Latin America, including Brazil, Bolivia, and Mexico. They are native to rainforests, and they thrive in warm, humid conditions, which is why you need to increase the humidity around your plant. Makes sense. If you live in a humid place, you'd want it to be humid too. Propagation. Depending on the variety of Syngonium you have, there are 3 ways to propagate your plant, all of which are actually pretty straightforward and relatively simple. Pretty easy. Now, you can take stem cuttings. Not the Syngonium that I have downstairs vines very much. It is not a cluster like this one. It just vines. So, and every time it produces a new leaf, it makes a new node. So with that, I would clip off a healthy stem with at least several leaves and several nodes. So every node is like one of those little bumps. It's got a little nebby bump that comes out. So I would make sure it has 3 leaves and like 3 nodes. And then I would break off the leaves from each of those bottom nodes and then just stick it in water. And just wait for it to root. Just wait for it to root. Refresh the water every few days. Dump it out. Refresh the water. That's all you have to do. Just wait. And it'll put out roots. If you really want to get fancy, you can use some rooting hormone powder. Or if you have a pothos, just stick a rooted pothos in. They make their own rooting hormone. And then just wait. You can do division for others. You divide the mature plants into smaller plants and ensure that each division has roots attached. Then all you have to do is pop each division into a new pot with fresh, well-draining soil. Oh, a new plant! Finally, rhizome division. That's what I've got. You separate the rhizome, which is an underground stem, from the parent plant, and then you pop each one into its own pot with fresh potting mix. New plants! Increase my supply without spending money! We love not having to spend money for plants. Problems. Common problems with syngoniums. Now, they are some resilient plants, but like all houseplants, they have some pests. It happens. Yellowing leaves. This can indicate under or over watering or poor drainage. This is my dog Odie. Say hi, Odie. Change your watering routine. Remember, overwatering kills more plants than underwatering by far and away. Lay off the watering. You do not need to water that much. Remember the finger test. If you don't trust the finger test, lift up the plant. Is it heavy? Put that booger down. You don't need to water that much. The plant's fine. A plant can recover from underwatering much more easily than from overwatering. Check your pot's drainage holes. How big are the drainage holes and how many does it have? Does it have adequate drainage? If not, get it some better drainage. Brown leaf tips. This can be caused by low humidity or salt buildup in the soil. Easy remedies. Increase humidity and flush the soil occasionally with distilled water. That'll flush the salt buildup out of the soil. Salt buildup can occur due to fertilizer use and also mineral buildup from using tap water to water. I generally prefer to water with distilled water specifically for that reason. Continuing forward. Pests. Like most indoor plants, syngoniums can be attacked by pests such as spider mites, aphids, and mealybugs. Keep a sharp eye out for these pests, because you need to act as soon as you see them. I am serious. I have lost so many plants of so many kinds to different pests. It ain't funny, because once you've got an infestation, you have to act quickly. Use an insecticidal soap or even just dish soap inside of a water bottle with water. And spray your plant vigorously, especially directly on the pest itself. And remember, they like to get up under where the leaf meets the actual stem. Like right here, right under here. They like to get up there. They like to get that spot right there. Ooh, they love that spot. They also like down in here. Way down in here. They like that spot too. Ooh, they like that spot. And they also like these spots right here. These little crevices. These little nooks here. See? They like that spot too. Don't let them get a foothold. Don't let them get a foothold. Even just dish soap in a spray bottle with some water. Shake it up. Spray your plant. And then rinse the hell out of the plant with your shower sprayer. Just rinse the soap off the plant with your shower sprayer, trying not to get it into the soil. And that's my dog Macy. And just try not to get it into the soil if you can. But if you do get it into the soil, rinse the soil thoroughly. If you don't have something that can be killed so easily, try neem oil. Neem oil is a little more... Ugh. And be careful because you have to dilute neem oil. You can't just use it straight. You have to make sure you read the instructions on the bottle so that you're not hurting your plants. For mealybugs, dip a cotton swab in 71% isopropyl alcohol and then touch the bug. This will kill it, and then spray your plant with clean water so that it rinses the bugs off. And finally, wilting. This is caused usually either by underwatering or by root rot due to overwatering. Check your soil moisture, finger test. If root rot is suspected, if your soil's really freaking wet, you need to pull the plant out of the pot. Trim away any roots that are affected by root rot, and then you need to repot it in fresh, well-draining soil, possibly also in a different container that drains better. So, this is the rundown on Syngoniums, specifically the pink confetti, or the milk confetti. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I would be happy to see any engagement at all. You know, like, comment, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do if you feel like doing it. Tell the people you love that you love them, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed.